Do you know that China has done something really simple and it ultimately humiliated other scientists? They have protected their cities from the desert. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for regular updates. With that note, let's get started. The desert was on a rampage that would take the mainland with it. Desertification is a process in which the surrounding area of the desert gets converted into the desert. It might not sound that big of a deal, but trust me, there are many repercussions of this. And that is what was happening with China. The fourth largest desert in the world, the Gobi, is progressively engulfing China. But China suggested a straightforward method that stopped desertification, and now the rest of the globe is using it. The majority of the Gobi's terrain is composed of rocky, hard-packed ground, although traveling across it was made easier by the firm ground. There wasn't much of a human settlement in the area before the desert propelled the Gobi into history as a potential trading route. The region's name Gobi, derived from the Mongolian phrase for very big and dry, provides a hint as to how historically people have viewed it as a desert area. The Himalayan mountain range has created a rain shadow over the Gobi Desert, keeping it from receiving rain-carrying clouds. It's basically crescent-shaped and located between the P Mountains in the south and the Old Tai and Hangehel mountain ranges in the north. The Sinkiang region, a sizable basin extending onto the plateau of Tibet, borders the eastern edge of the desert. Greater Qing'an Range is located west of the Gobi. Without any prominent mountain structures, the Gobi Desert living in the winter Gobi Desert is particularly challenging due to the wind's chilling effect on the temperature. While distinguished by temperatures approaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the summer is also the Gobi Desert's rainy season. The promise of rain that comes with the high temperatures is much needed by the desert's residents. The annual rainfall in the aircraft is just 4 to 6 inches, which is 100 to 150 millimeters, which is not nearly enough despite the heat. Few of China's old civilizations have survived in the desert due to the harsh environment of the Gobi and the difficulty in establishing permanent settlements there. People who traveled the difficult terrain in its early history favored traders. The Gobi Desert was no exception when it came to navigating deserts to reach potential markets. Trade paths crisscrossed the gravelly landscape for commercial purposes, linking the cities of Kalgan, Suzhou, and Beijing. The Gobi Desert's problem is that it's insatiable and wants to grow, turning what was before lush land into a parched desert. Over 400 million people live in the 27.4% of desertified land that makes up China. The northwest Chinese autonomous region of Ningxia, Hui, has suffered greatly. It has been battling desertification for about 60 years, and as of 2010, 2.97 million hectares, or 57% of its total area, have been damaged. Villages and farmland could be destroyed by desertification, which would force people to leave their homes. Since 2012, an $80 million World Bank-funded initiative has been assisting in the fight against desertification, restoring natural vegetation, and implementing other environmental protection measures in 7 countless in cities in Ningxia. The sand was forced into the nearby Yellow River, raising the riverbed and increasing the risk of flooding. Based on knowledge accumulated over the previous 6 decades and site-specific factors, a 1+4 technique for regenerating vegetation has been developed. 4 indicates planting in the spring and the fall, as well as spot sowing, container seeding, and broadcast seeding throughout the rainy season. 1 indicates using a straw checkboard to secure the sand, which acts as a foundation. Vegetation cover has been restored to 40%, and planting materials have a 70% survival rate. The sand dunes' progress has been essentially stopped as a result. This technique has allowed for the control of 6,667 hectares of desert. A once sandy area in Yanqi County, which is also on the verge of the desert, is now lush with trees, grass, and flower shrubs thanks to extensive straw checkboards and a grazing ban. The tan sheep of Yanqi are prized for their fine fleece and tender meat, but overgazing has significantly contributed to soil erosion and desertification. Now that the sheep are confined in corrals, farmers obtained subsidies for sheep sheds and benefited from repaired roads and other fundamental infrastructure. Through awareness programs, farmers were made aware of the value of keeping their sheep away from the damaged region. As a result, the amount of forest cover increased by 2%, while the average number of dusty days per year decreased by 11 days. Furthermore, biodiversity is expanding. Several multi-year pasture grasses are resurfacing, according to Cheng Jidong, Deputy Director of Yanqi County's Environment and Forestry Department. Desertification has long been a threat to Zhangwei, another city on the fringes of the desert. The size of the straw checkboards in Zhangwei right now is incredible. They resemble a huge net that is enclosing a sizable sea of sand and holding the sand dunes in place. Meanwhile, due to the labor-intensive nature of the job, making straw checkboards is challenging. A guy drives the straw's cut end into the sand with a spade after two women put the straw in pairs on the beach. On the other side, the invention of a portable instrument decreased survival rates by 20% while reducing labor expenses. The initiative enabled this network of straw checkboards to cover more than 21,333 hectares of desert. In order to protect the city and important infrastructures, such as the railway and highways, that would have otherwise vanished beneath the sand, 3,333 hectares of grass and plants have been planted. The desert attracts tourists from all around China and is one of the country's most popular tourist destinations. Local communities benefit from the extra jobs and money sources that the fight against desertification generates. For instance, Zhao Yunji, the head of a local farmers cooperative that manages a feedstock business, asserts that his sheep reproduce more when fed fodder derived from Karagana. He thinks that Karagana market is promising and plans to increase production in 2019. Farmer Wang Weiying is from the village of Zhaitan, grows at the desert chives and exports them to cities like Guangzhou, Beijing, and Shanghai. He claimed to have 4 greenhouses and earn more than 100,000 yuan, or roughly $15,000 annually. The task of creating straw checkboards is satisfying. According to Tang Ximing, the head of the project management office at Zhao Yanji, from May through August, they engaged 700 to 800 farmers to make straw checkboards every day. They have paid out about 70 million yuan in salary in just 6 years, and they spent 16 million yuan on purchasing straws from farmers. Zhao Yanji's sweet selenium-rich watermelon is a national bestseller and a key source of cash for local farmers, some of whom even rely on straw checkboards for a living. The soil in the gravel-mulched watermelon field declines after a few years of use, forcing the growers to switch to wolfberry and calcium fruit. Calcium fruit, which resembles a cherry and is calcium-rich, does well on arid, sandy soil. China has been so successful in halting the spread of deserts that other countries are also adopting its strategies. Desertification is a widespread issue that has serious repercussions for long-term development, socioeconomic stability, poverty alleviation, environmental safety, biodiversity, and other factors. China collaborates with other nations dealing with comparable problems to share best practices and information in the fight against desertification. Each year, hundreds of foreign officials and experts travel to Ningxia to study indigenous sand prevention and control methods. Bashir Daoud, a meteorologist from Jordan, valued the chance to participate in the training course. He's pleased to learn useful information that he may apply in his own nation, which has a climate similar to that of Ningxia. In Ningxia alone, 53,000 hectares of the desert have been controlled. It has helped to improve the local ecology and protect the neighborhood's important infrastructure. Vegetation coverage has increased to about 30% in the project area with straw checkboard and 60% in the shelter belt woods. Participating in the project has benefited the lives of locals as well. 3 million people are anticipated to benefit directly from environmental improvements in the project areas. Indirectly, these upgrades will also help a lot of individuals who go from Beijing and Tianjin. Millions of people now have optimism thanks to China's modest effort. People who live outside of China, as well as those who live in China, were given hope by it. The world can battle desertification and preserve the ecosystem thanks to the effectiveness of the checkboard method. This method is now being used in other countries too, and it has been really effective. With the help of this method, we would be able to restore the ecosystem quickly. This was a quite simple method that China has used, but it works like a charm. Do let us know your thoughts about it in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. I'll see you at the next one.